Hey guys, so I've got another Bible lesson for you guys. And as I told FCS when I did it earlier, it is a bit unconventional. And as I also told them, the way I described it is quite deep and it kind of gets in your face. So some of you could be a little bit upset with me when I am done, but I believe it carries a really good message and apparently also proves you can make a Bible study out of anything. So here we go. And this is called When September Ends. So, Wake Me Up When September Ends was written by Billy Joe Armstrong. It was released in 2005 by the band Green Day. Armstrong's father passed on September 1st of 1982. He wrote this song describing his pain he felt and the loss of his father. But I also interpret it in a different way. It can also describe growing up, the death of your past self, events that shape you, and looking to the future. It can describe life and how we look at it and how we go through it. So 7 years has gone so fast. You are not the same person you were 7 years ago. And this doesn't have to be exactly 7 years. It can be just who you were as a kid versus who you are now. So I want you to ask, who were you then? And I want you to also think about, who are you now? This phrase comes up quite a bit in the chorus or pre-chorus, and it's the innocent can never last. If any of you have read the short story Marigolds, you know where this quote comes from. And I read it my freshman year, and it has stuck with me since then, especially the line that I have underlined that really made me think after I read it. So the quote says, I know that moment marked the end of innocence. Innocence involves an unseeing acceptance of things at face value and ignorance of the area below the surface. In that humiliating moment, I looked beyond myself and into the depths of another person. This was the beginning of compassion, and one cannot have both compassion and innocence. That moment. Each person has a moment. There was a moment in your life when your eyes were opened and you gained compassion. You understood that the world was not what you believed it was as a child. The lens of childhood was taken from your eyes as they were open to the world. I want you to take time and think about what that moment was. That moment where your whole world changed, where you suddenly realized, I'm not a kid anymore. There are things now that I see that I didn't see then. My world is different. As my memory rests, but never forgets what I lost. Facing the past. We all have yet another moment. It could be that same moment. Maybe it's even a collection of moments. Regardless, we have a moment we want to forget. It is a moment in our lives that shaped us for better, worse, or maybe both. We have a difficult time facing it. I want you to think on this moment, even if it is difficult. Think about how it has shaped you. How has it helped you become the person you are now? And I will even do this with you. I will tell you about my moment. And my moment takes place April 10th of 2016. And I will give you the short version because you don't need all the details that don't really matter in the whole sum of the story. I was texting a friend whom honestly at the moment I felt like I barely knew, and evidently realized that to be true. My friend was both clinically depressed and being bullied, and they told me they wished to take their life. At the time, I did not realize that my friend had a gun in their mouth and was ready to pull the trigger when their phone beeped to let them know I was texting them. I spent probably an hour and a half talking my friend off this ledge. I went to bed that night not knowing if they were going to be alive the next day, and that was terrifying. I don't think I've ever been so scared in my life. The next day, all I could see were images in my head of my friend killing themselves, of putting a gun to their head and blowing their brains out. And that was a terrifying image to me. But the next day I found out my friend was alive. They weren't dead. They had not killed themselves because of what I had done. And I will get to the big point of this story here in just a second. So what are we supposed to do with that moment? That moment that we can barely handle. That shaped us even if we haven't seen it yet. That changed our lives, like I said, for better, worse, or both. Well, the answer is we're supposed to give it to God. Psalm 55:22, which is one of my best friend's life verses, says, "Cast your cares on the Lord, and He will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken." Give it to Him. That does not promise that this pain will go away instantly or that you'll see a result just automatically. It means that the Lord is giving you something to lean on, something to help you keep going. And yeah, He could take it right there. Or you could continue to walk through the fire, but He is going to walk with you, and He will sustain you. And this is pretty much where I was getting to with my story. And I love this verse. This is Romans 8:28. And it says, "And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to His purpose." So that moment that shook me to my core, that scared me so badly, it had a bigger purpose. It saved my friend's life, and it also opened my eyes, and it is the reason I can even do these lessons. It opened my eyes to the world, and it had a bigger purpose. It was part of a bigger plan, a bigger picture. Take this situation and make it part of your testimony. Turn your mess into a message. 20 years has gone so fast. Stepping off. In life, we have so many stepping off points. That could be going to high school, getting a new job, graduating, retiring, whatever stage you're at in life. And some of you could be like me and are about to step off into something that's rather scary. Stepping off for me, next year will be graduation, and then the next will be going to college, which is very scary. But what does the Bible say about these stepping off points? It says, "And the Lord, He is the one who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. Do not fear nor be dismayed." And that's Deuteronomy 31:8. So the Lord has already gone before you. He's seen the whole story. He's seen its outcome. He's seen your journey. He's seen all of it. He knows all of it. And He's going to be with you. He is not going to leave you. And it says, do not fear. Do not be dismayed. And Joshua 1:9 says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, nor be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." So wherever you go, whether that is, heck, going to school in the morning, going to another state, another country, anywhere you go, God is going to be with you in your journey. He's not going to leave you. And He says to be courageous, be of good courage. Do not be afraid, for He's with you. So becoming who we are. Who do you want to be? Years from now, you will look back just as you did today on this time. You will look back and compare who you are now to who you will be then. Who do you want to be looking back on you? Who do you want to be? I encourage you to pray that God would shape you for the future as He sees fit.